Alright, so this is my first ever attempt at doing a tutorial, unscripted, on everything. Hopefully I don't get interrupted by anybody off camera upstairs. And I'm going to do a piano tutorial and try to explain the theory behind Disappear by Madness. This is my first time doing it. I've just laid the song down entirely by ear. And I chose to do it because it's got a nice little piano part at the beginning. So I'm going to try and run through it really easy and then explain how I play it. So the beginning with the intro is a sort of and it does that. The rest of the verse is more or less the same thing, just a little more in rhythm with the song. Then we've got the chorus, which is a sort of and then in the middle you have a sort of and the bass and everything. Alright, so, and that's more or less the entire song. So the intro, and more or less the verse, is the song is on G, and it more or less follows this sort of bass line. And so forth. So you start on G, I can play it right, G, the bass is on an F sharp, but the chord is a D major, E minor, D for the bass and G again for the chord, C on both, and then there's a E minor on the chord and a B on the bass, and then that little da 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 da, and then G. What's interesting here is that the bass and the chord is the same for G, but the D major, any three-part chord, three notes chord is made up of a tonic, a mediant or middle third, and a dominant or fifth. What's interesting is the bass on F is using the middle third of a D, so it fits, but the bass is up here instead of like on D. So instead of going, it's, which makes it kind of sound a little more uncertain and interesting. The E minor is also an E bass note, but then the D, instead of D, it's actually a G. So the tonic is on the bass for D, but the chord is on the dominant, the fifth, for the chord. So again, it creates that sort of higher pitch or note off the bass, or a grounded G major chord, and then of course C for C. So it's an interesting kind of progression. It's just a slightly different rhythm between intro and verse. And of course in the intro you have a sort of, it's going up to C to sort of create a almost like a kind of like a sort of, not a sustained, like a diminished kind of chord. When you do this on D major, you turn it into a B minor chord. inverted. When he does it here, when the bass is on D, he's going to a C suspended second. Or sorry, G suspended second. And again, that same sort of, the bass is on B, but you're using, what you're actually doing is using the dominant of E minor. So you're kind of playing with different parts of the chords on the bass line than you are on the chords, which is an interesting thing to do in music. So, and then of course mixing in diminished and suspended seconds, which kind of creates a kind of suspense. Chorus. Oops. Is a D major, B major, E minor, and an A major. And then of course back to G, with the chords reciprocating with their bass notes. So G and D, G and D. Not much to say about the chorus. It's just all the chords are what they are on bass and whatever. It's kind of a, it starts on a major chord, a couple major chords, and it ends on a minor. Or sorry, no, it ends on a major chord too. The third chord is a minor. So, yeah, that E minor, and then A major. So it's kind of like a testy kind of chorus, which kind of goes along with the lyrics, the stab in the back, the smoke in the black as it smolders to its grave. Kind of sounds kind of like you're talking about something from a bland point of view, like you're kind of just going through the motions regardless of whether it's good or bad. Interestingly, in reverse, it kind of sounds like this. Sounds pretty catchy if you reverse the chorus like that. And then finally the bridge, which kind of goes down a tone. The basic structure is F, E, and G. Or sorry, C, F, E, C. Basic, the same idea, adding in suspended seconds, adding in diminished things with the pinky finger. Same with C. That's about it. Some rhythm stuff, but otherwise that's the whole song. So hopefully that was interesting and whatever. It's a very simple song. The guitar follows the same line as the bass guitar, that sort of. The entire song is built around that riff, aside from the chorus. So yeah, that's that.